I keep seeing this mistake happening over and over again. Someone tries n8n automation, he likes it, and then he starts trying to build the whole application in n8n. Or worse, he tries to build an email follow-up automation in Antigravity. And this is really not efficient. Actually, those two applications are fundamentally different. Both are solving different problems, and they should be treated as they are. For those who don't know me, my name is Malik Kilani, and I have been working in the consulting business of software for a decade now, and today I'm helping businesses to break through AI and get value out of it. In this video, we are going to walk through real use cases where n8n should be used and where anti-gravity should be used, and why they differ fundamentally one from the other, and if you are a no-coder, why you also should maybe start with n8n instead of jumping into anti-gravity and trying to build agentic workflows, which are like the most recent evolution of what's possible with AI. So stick to the end and you'll hopefully get clear on what each tool is made for. So let's start with n8n. n8n is fundamentally an automation platform like Make, Zapier, if you heard about them, and it's actually going from a trigger that will start some actions. We can define the trigger based on the schedule, for example, based on a webhook if we are capturing some data from external applications and brings them to n8n. And based on that trigger, there will be some actions. For example, I want some follow-up on some email or some leads, that an email gets sent to them automatically, or I want a calendar meeting to be scheduled with the lead automatically in my calendar and his calendar based on the data that I captured, and get the output that we want out of it. And there are built-in APIs in n8n, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel each time. There are standard and we can directly use them, like Google Sheets, Google Calendar, Microsoft SharePoint, connections to APIs, to LLMs. When we want to define an agent, for example, that is using an LLM like ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever, we can also define this in the workflow and connect it to the other nodes in order that it does some summarization, in order that it generates also something. So this is possible, that it's still automation. So we will get this data from here to there, and we will transform the data, and we will get an output that it desired for us in order to move the needle in the business. And it's very efficient when we have repetitive tasks. It means that something is repeating itself each time. I don't want to do it each time myself, so I will put the automation, I put it in schedule, and it would just execute that painful repetitive task for me. I don't need to care about it anymore. And I want to share with you some use cases on how I use it for myself and how my clients are using it. For myself, I'm actually using a workflow that allows me to track AI updates. As an AI consultant, I really need to know what's happening with the tools I'm using every day, like n8n, Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude. I use them all, and I need updates weekly because there are weekly updates naturally, and this is captured through an n8n workflow that you see here, and you can just grab the sheet from the description. You will also have the updates that I see every week as well. The second use case is a customer, which is a marketing company that needs to send long forms to its customer. They need to answer like 83 questions to a very detailed thing that might be existing already in the internet. So the customer will be lazy, he will not answer it, and the long cycle comes in. So they started hiring VAs, virtual assistants, in order to fill up this research first before they send the next form to the customer to capture more detailed information. And these VAs or virtual assistants, they need to pay them, they need to onboard them on the process, and this is costing them time and money. So they decided to automate the process of the market research, and of course we used n8n for that. It captures the questions in the form from their CRM, and then it puts these questions in the right format for n8n to be processed, and then it gets to the LLM, which is powered by Perplexity, to do the deep research around these questions, and after that it sends them back to the Google Doc and format them, and they are ready to be sent to the customer as a form that is already pre-filled by the AI. And it's doing much more better research actually than humans, because it's like going through hundreds or thousands of articles throughout the internet, and it's crazy how these things became efficient these days. And I'm still astonished, honestly, by the results, and I'm even using them myself to do discovery around my customers today. There are so many other use cases, I would not go through each one of them, but yeah, these are two examples just to explain where n8n can be useful. Let's move on to Antigravity. So Antigravity is an IDE, integrated development environment, that have been released by Google since November 2025, and today they added more features to it, and it became really like an agentic building IDE that is very powerful and limitless in building functional applications and also automations. Now, let me explain better. When I started the video, I said please start with n8n, not directly Antigravity, and there is a reason for that, because there are defined APIs already, and you get an idea what is a webhook, what is an API, how are things moving forward together, how is the data processed, etc. And this automation thing is actually something that we can write with code as well. It's possible to write some automation that is simply executed in n8n, that you can do it like in half an hour because everything is there already, but you can also code it. But coding it doesn't make sense if it will cost you a lot of time fixing it and also deploying it somewhere in order for it to work and the UI around it working, which we see literally the UI working for us in n8n when we execute the workflow. But we will need to develop the backend, the database where we store the data, the front end as well for an automation which is just simply executable and buildable in n8n, which then doesn't make sense to build it in Antigravity, but it's possible. But still, the power of Antigravity is in the application building itself. So for me, for example, as a solopreneur, I need to go through a lot of things. I need to take care of marketing, of sales, of building things, of operations, and it's a lot of tasks that whole department take over actually in companies. But it's possible today for me as a solopreneur to actually scale these different angles because I have the AI power. And this is where I started building this. So for example, myself, before actually Antigravity came into the world, I discovered last year the Poppy AI application, and I like the concept of having a Canva where we are bringing in our data sources from YouTube, from websites, from LinkedIn, etc. So from whatever we want, and we bring them there, and then we link those data sources through arrows to an AI assistant that will be able to generate content for us based on the inspiration we choose. For example, I chose some styles of some preferred authors, I chose my videos, my other YouTubers' videos and other LinkedIn viral posts, etc. for inspiration. This has been very helpful for me and it's saved me a lot of time. It's useful and I'm using this for my content creation. So this is an example of an application that you can build as well. But by then I built this in bolt.new. There was no Antigravity yet, and it's based on Supabase as well, so there is a whole thing around it. So it's a full stack application, and it took me a lot of time to get to a version that I really liked. But once it's there, it became like a system for me. I just use it and build things there without reinventing the wheel each time. So I don't have also to go to Gemini or to Claude and then switch tabs to other things to generate content or whatever. I just generate everything there. So coming back to Antigravity is actually the next gen byte coding platform because it's directly in the IDE, so it's local. Right? It's very important to make the distinction. So when I was building in bolt.new in the past, it was something I'm building in a byte coding platform, but right now the IDE is something that you install in your local machine in my computer, and I can directly open it and start building things there. This is a big difference because from security reasons, privacy reasons, everything is in your machine, so you are safe. And I can give you an example of what I built with Antigravity. So I have an issue with my invoicing process. I'm preparing invoices and I noticed, and I'm using GoHellLevel as my CRM. But GoHellLevel doesn't really have the capabilities of building invoices the way that I need them to be built to respond and to comply with the German law and how the German invoice should be internationally, but also in Germany or all over Europe. And I wasn't able to get a feature to do that in GoHellLevel. When I was checking also in the internet, I saw there are software that would respond to what I need, like LexOffice, etc., accounting software, but it means that I will pay for a new subscription. So right now with Antigravity, when you get to think as an entrepreneur or a business that you need to pay for a new subscription, maybe think first about what you can do as custom to solve the problem that you had. And if you can connect that to another application because of your specific use case, this is how this application that I built look like. It generates my invoice in German, in English when needed, and it's really responding to my needs. It's also sequencing the invoices. I think I will generate more than like 1000 invoices for the first year. So I can manage it this way until it gets then bigger. Like I need maybe a database, then I will connect the database to it. But right now I just needed a JSON file in my instance with Antigravity, and I just needed to build the UI or basic UI, but I also put a lot of effort in designing the PDF that would be generated in the end, because this is the main thing that will be sent to customers, but also will be sent to the finance office, etc. So this is how I came to that conclusion. So it means that you also don't need to build each time something perfect. This is important to consider there when you are using these tools, because you might get lost in the perfection loop and you never get something fully working, because stacking an application is building a module per module and getting things to work together after that. And you might get stuck in building the first module and not moving forward. Mistake that I made as well, unfortunately, at the beginning of Vibe Coding. I hope that these examples clarify what is possible with n8n, what is possible with Antigravity, and that the difference is crystal clear, and that you see how they can both be useful in their own use cases. You can actually combine Cloud Code or Antigravity to n8n workflows as well. So you had the APIs in n8n, and you can connect the APIs of your own build application. You can generate some API for it and build it directly in the IDE, and then connect them and have an application that is also powered by workflow or whatever. So it's possible. So this is why I said it's infinite possibilities, but we should limit ourselves to specific use cases. We should define it clearly what we want to do with AI, or where it will add value for our business. Is this through automating repetitive tasks, or maybe I really need urgently a custom application to manage some critical processes. So with this said, I made a one-page decision tree for you in order to respond to the question, should I automate or should I build? And hopefully this video had some value for you. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you subscribe if you liked the video. You can also join my free school community for more free resources. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.